Hello and welcome to The Analyst. I'm Nikita Rana. In our previous episode, we discussed the attacks on India's power grid. In this episode, we're going to discuss the most famous attacks on a nation's power grid and the sophistication behind it. Both these attacks were done by Russia on Ukraine 1 year apart in December 2015 and December 2016. The Russian hackers targeted a power distribution center outside Kiev, Ukraine's capital, which is home to more than 3 million people. At the end of a shift worker found that he had lost control of his mouse cursor and it was triggering circuit breakers and taking power substations offline. While this fight continued, he found himself logged out of his system and his password changed. By the end of this, the hackers had taken 30 substations offline and put more than 2.3 lakh residents of Kiev into darkness. Later investigations revealed that the attack had been planned over months, and the reason for weakness in the system that allowed the hackers to penetrate the system was that remote VPN logins were linked to the grid control network and there was a lack of two-factor authentication. Power was out for only 1 to 6 hours, but months after that, the systems weren't fully operational. And the reason for that is that the hackers overwrote firmware on critical devices, making them unresponsive to remote commands. The workers were controlling the circuit breakers manually. The initial intrusion was done through a spear phishing attack against the IT staff. A spear phishing campaign is an extremely targeted attack where the hackers get you to click on a link or a file depending on your profile. For example, if they know that you're really into cat videos, they'll send one of those to you. In this case, there was an infected Word file that prompted the victims to enable macros through which a backdoor was successfully enabled in their PCs. The hackers targeted UPS at the control centers also. This means not just the customers were in the dark, but the operators who had to get the systems back online were also in the dark. They launched the telephone denial of service attack, which means that customers could not contact the helpline to report the power outage. They used the kill disk malware to rewrite master boot record of computers with zeros so they could not reboot. 12 months later, when the hackers struck again, they were even more sophisticated. Instead of going after distribution centers, they went after Kiev's transmission center. It carried 200 megawatts more load than all the distribution centers attacked a year earlier. This time, instead of using a mouse, the malware could send commands directly to the grid's equipment using its control system protocols. It's not even a one-off tool. It can be quickly reconfigured to attack any power grid. Thankfully, power came back in an hour, but it could have been much worse. Instead of merely turning it off, malware could have destroyed critical grid equipment. Researchers found that the malware contained code designed to target a Siemens device, a kill switch, to prevent dangerous surges on electrical lines and transformers. Experts believe that these attacks on Ukraine were muted because they were meant to be warnings and a safe testing ground for hackers without fear of retaliation. They were sharpening their knives for the big kill. These cyber attacks give us a window into how sophisticated nation-state backed hackers can be and the vast potential for damage without even a single soldier stepping on the soil of the victim nation. Countries must work to establish proper defense of their cyberspace, and even offensive capabilities to deter other nations for an equally lethal counterattack. That's it from us. We'll catch you next time.